Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Stash Report from Stash Project. Today is June 15th, 2020. We have a kit announcement, a kit tease, and then a few kit releases. So, let's just hop on into her, shall we? Sure, why not? Nothing better to do with our time, do we? It's almost summer. Time to hide from the heat. Been kept in the house forever, and now we don't want to go back outside. It's too hot. All right, so the kit announcement this week is from Salvinos JR. They're releasing another one of the Monogram 124 scale based NASCAR kits. This time it is going to be the Blue Max Racing Tim Richmond Pontiac Grand Prix, sponsored by Old Milwaukee. Now, I have seen, because I occasionally will go through and skip around their Saturday live streams after the fact, that the people who received this kit early, for you folks who don't know, Salvinos JR has created like a builders club, what they call it. Basically, it's a modeler of the month club. You commit, like non-legally, you can opt out, I guess, at any time. I'm not sure they let you back in, though. But at any rate, that you commit to buying one model kit a month from Salvinos JR, and what it is the early release of the things that they're going to distribute to everyone eventually. So I've seen a few people who got this kit early because they're part of that Model of the Month club, then complain that the decals do not have what they're calling the meatballs on the Old Milwaukee logos. If you go back and look at the box art, the those logos that are underneath the hood decal and beside the Old Milwaukee apparently are not on the decal sheet, or at least that is what they are complaining about. And it was brought up several times in the live stream in the comments section. And eventually, to the effect of like, are we going to get replacement decals for these? Or is there going to be a supplemental decal sheet? Are we going to get a new decal sheet sent to us? And the answer was no. So that begs the question as to whether or not the people in this little Model of the Month club are getting just basically advanced copies of things they already plan to send out, or they're legitimately running off a couple hundred kits and then running off the rest of the run, which would allow them to fix any problems with the decal sheets. Now we know they're prone to not fixing the decal sheets because, well, they still have never really physically addressed the fact that that one Richard Petty kit doesn't have Goodyear logos on for the tires in the kit, because that was the whole buy the next kit, it'll be in there, and then it wasn't in there, and then it was okay, contact your hobby dealer and they'll have replacements, and I've still never really heard any kind of resolution out of that. In terms of people who actually needed those decals going and be able to get them. It's a very big deal, and I don't want to harp on Salvinos JR all the time when they do, but they keep doing silly stuff. Maybe I'm completely wrong here. You guys can tell me if I'm off base and I'm being completely unreasonable here, but my impressions of Salvino JR was that they made replicas of race cars. Now, one of the things you always hear about automotive modelers when they start bashing the people who build IPMS models, planes, tanks, boats, and whatever, is that there's no freedom and there's no imagination in that. I can do whatever I want to with a car model, but a tank has to be whatever. Race car models are the same way. You don't have freedom in the race car model if you're building a replica of something, right? If you want to just make a 1984 Grand Prix, you could very easily just go buy an old one on eBay for probably less than these new kits are selling for, because they're still selling these at the Salvino $40 mark. Especially through their Model of the Month club, we buy them directly from Salvinos. They're a little less in hobby shops if you can find them. Assuming I should say you can find a hobby shop. A lot of people don't actually have those. In Pittsburgh, we have a glut of them, but I know that's not the way of the world necessarily. You could just make whatever you want to. You could make it a fantasy car. You can print your own decals, have some decals run off for you, do whatever. But when you're selling something as a 1984 race winning car, and you put the car on the box art as it ran in that race, it better look like the content of the box better look like the contents on the box. Otherwise, it's not really a replica of something, and you just be like, "Hey, this is a Grand Prix that looks like one that Tim Richmond drove." It, you know, I'm a stickler for the race car decal thing. It is who I am to my core. If you're gonna make a replica of a race car, it has to look like the race car. Your freedom, if you will, in making a race car replica is like, oh, do I want to make it like as it sat on the grid before the race started? Do I want to weather it up to make it look like the car as it looked when it crossed the finish line, winning that race? That's your freedom. You don't, this isn't your casual automotive modeler who's going to, grab a model and chop the roof and Krylon paint the thing. You don't do that with a race car. It's a replica. It is a representation of a specific thing that occurred in history. And maybe that's why people don't like building race cars, because A, they're scared of decals, and B, they're just like, it's too confining. But yeah, the problem with them not having the meatballs on this significantly is that Tim Richmond ran this old Milwaukee livery on Pontiacs for like 3 years. Remember good old time NASCAR where your main sponsor was your main sponsor for like years. They weren't necessarily signed to the driver; they were signed to the team, and drivers became very synonymous with a specific sponsor. Dale Earnhardt is GM Goodwrench for the longest time. Rusty Wallace was Miller Products. Mark Martin was Valvoline. Texaco Haviland sponsored Robert T8 Racing through Davey Allison and Ernie Irvan. Richard Petty for STP, and so on and so forth. You had these multi-year sponsorships, more with the team than the driver, because a lot of those cars that had a sponsorship sponsored everybody who drove it, right? Bill Elliott's associated with Coors, Junior Johnson Racing, no matter who drove the car, is associated with Budweiser, and so on and so forth. You can't actually make a 1985 car out of this because the associate sponsorships are wrong. You can't make an 83 car out of this because the associate sponsorships are wrong. Certain years of the cars didn't run that little old Milwaukee founding logo meatball thing. The only way to solve this kit as it stands, unless they fix the decals before the kit is actually released to the general public, would be go to Powerslide and buy the $13 set of decals that replicate the Tim Richmond cars as they were driven over the course of that 3 to 4 year span. Why am I paying $13 for a set of decals for something that costs $40 to begin with? This isn't, I bought a blank GT3 car and now I want to make it a specific car, and so I have to spend $20 on a set of decals because the kit doesn't come with decals. This comes with decals, they just aren't the right ones, or not technically have all of the pieces and parts necessary. I don't understand how Savino runs a model of a month club at this point. I mean, with all the build and accuracy issues with the Ultra build, all the build and accuracy issues with the Monte Carlos, now we're getting to the point where, like, oh hey, we can't get decals included, and we're not going to, and no, we're not going to fix the problems. It's like these guys have some of the worst customer service of anybody in the industry at this point. I mean, if you email Fujimi about a part you are missing, chances are you will never hear back from them. But chances are also about 90 days later, you're going to get the part in the mail. It's a really odd, non-communicative, because there's not a lot of people at Fujimi actually can speak and or read and or write English, so they don't really respond back to you. They just send you the stuff that you need to get replaced without ever telling you it's coming, but at least it shows up. These guys are just flat out telling you it's wrong, we know it, and we don't care. Screw off. So there's that. I was at that verge. You guys know I have a policy of not spending any money at Salvino's because they keep doing stuff like this, and I don't want to support a model company that treats their customers that way. But old Milwaukee, 84, I was like 8 years old at the time, and like it's that beer sponsorship, big old NASCAR, blocksy cars. This is the NASCAR that I grew up on as a young kid. I've told you guys a number of times my grandmother was into NASCAR. It's actually how I got into NASCAR. She was into NASCAR. My mom thought Ricky Rudd was adorably cute. Sorry, Dad. And because my mom was into NASCAR because my grandmother was. And it's just, I'm not buying a model kit to buy another set of decals for it. I might, if I want to build that car, I would do the other thing, which is buy an old monogram Monte Carlo with a set of ragged out decals and then buy replacement decals for it. I would not pay them money. I would not give them that satisfaction. But anyway, there's that. That's our lone kit announcement. The kit tease we have is from Revell of Germany. Now, these pictures were posted by a German builder who I would love to get credit for. Maybe I'll throw his name up on the screen, because I'm not about to try to pronounce it because it's German and it's not like anything resembling a Anglo-Saxon name. So again, we'll throw some credit on the screen here. But yeah, so this is basically looks like the final test shots, because this was a proof of concept build. And as you'll see, there's a lot of parts here that would not be in just a test shot of the upcoming Jaguar Jaguar XKE Coupe, or the E-Type, however you want to look at it, and it looks really good. Now there's some consternation about the daylight window openings and how tall the windshield is, but it's also a factor of nothing on this kit is chromed yet, and it makes it real hard to tell like sizes and things. This is one of these kit cars that looks like you're gonna have to paint it and build it to make it to see if it looks right. And if the roof's a little wrong, well, it's a Revell kit. Are you surprised? And it certainly looks a great deal better than pretty much any other of the 50, 60-year-old options. So we'll just cycle through the pictures here. You got the body. The body comes in two pieces. It is a fully functioning flip nose, as you'll see here at the end. Just putting the hood onto the body. I'm not sure if there's anything supporting the hood necessarily, but that's a really nice fit for it being a straight up test shot. You see that the chassis pan is on its own runner. It's kind of fun to watch the way things are engineered in terms of the way tooling is done these days compared to the old big blocks of tools. These are more like inserts that go into the big block. Then you have this thing here, which looks like it's got your front roll pin. It's got your front suspension components. It's got the firewall. It's got the radiator surround, and then this one here just has a whole lot of bits and pieces on it. There's a lot of little bits of things on here because you have what looks like one set of the brakes. You have some shocks. You have I always call the tie rods that you steer a car, that model cars like this, the bubble blower tie rods, because it's just one that fits on top of the two pivot points on the steering to make it functional steering. Then you heat swage the thing to get it on there. I would just glue that thing on there. But this is a lot of engine components here, a lot of suspension components. The exhaust is here, the headers are here, the carbs are here. There's a steering column, a stick shift, the antennas here. There's some shocks, whole bunch of stuff. Before I go off it, I see that it looks like the steering shaft and the distributors on here. Look at the pedal sets on here. The license plate backs are on here. So a lot of random stuff there. This part here has the dashboard, your seats, the engine block, the dashboard top, the actual radiators, like the oil pan, the wheel backs, steering wheels, all the springs. Looks like the actual surround for the radiator shroud. The belt pulley system here looks like a European style license plate back possibly. And then this piece here has your excuse me, losing my voice there. The door cards, the sort of the parcel shelf for the back of the car, and then here, this will be one of the chrome trees. So you got your wheels. I think a lot of us would prefer those were molded through, and they really put some work into those wheels. Sort of the Fujimi 250 GT Ferrari wheels, which are their own wheels because of the polycap system, not with these two-piece sandwich wheels. Why do the American, nominally Germany-based model kit companies insist on doing this? Why can't everybody just use polycaps at this point? I just don't understand why Revell feels like the need to try to reinvent the wheel or reuse the old wheels all the time. But anyway, on the chrome tree here, you got your bumper covers. Looks like the valve cover, your headlight surrounds, wipers are on here, door handles, the knockoffs for the wheels, the headlight buckets, and then this chrome tree has the windshield frame on it. Hope those attachment points are better than they look, just because that's a lot of places that you're going to have to touch up. Now, some of those will be probably hidden because the windshield frame mates into the windshield itself, but I don't know, kind of dodgy. Looks like your rearview mirror and like some more headlight buckets. And then you have this here, which shows the tires and the clear pieces. So you have like the turn signal, the headlights, the headlight covers, the windows, and whatnot. These don't have a final polish to them. They're not like optically clear like you would expect, but they're done. One of the bigger things you see test shots being built of advanced kits is that the actual clear pieces are not actually done yet. So these are done. So this kit is supposed to come out in October. We'll see how close they come to that. This is a nice side profile here. It gives you that sort of the weirdness of where the roof is because of the fact that, again, it's not painted. The windows don't have trim. The actual windshield frame itself isn't chromed. Those wheels, again, they may look good with a wash on them, but it would have been nice to have them be an actual wheel, like a Japanese wheel, so they could have molded them open. You can't mold that narrow of a wheel open; it would never inject. But if you made it, the the depth of a wire wheel, it would. And then here's a picture of it with the nose flipped open. It shows you the functionality of that nose flip and shows off the engine. And all in all, like I said, it certainly seems like a much better option than some of the other things we've had to deal with over the course of the year. So definitely anxious on that. Anxious to see that. It was a model kit that really didn't hit me all that great when they announced it at the Nuremberg Toy Fair. It was like, yeah, okay, another E-Type. Oh, okay, cool, I guess. But seeing it now, this definitely looks, has moved into my I need one of these when it comes out category. So let's go overseas to the kit releases this week, shall we? Sure. We got a couple of Aoshima things, a couple of Hasegawa things here. The Aoshima stuff's just straight reissue. So first up, you have a reissue of this, which is the Nissan Silvia S13 Rasty Silvia. It's a, venerable kit at this point. This kit seems to get reissued about every 9 months or so. And then this gets a reissue as well. It is actually, what is really a 4-in-1 boxing of the GRS 182 generation Toyota Crown. You can build this as a Crown Royal, a Crown Athlete, and a 2003 and a 2005. So there's really 4 different build variations within this box. There's some differences within the grills and the front bumpers and things like that as far as what makes it a 03 versus an 05, but you can build, pick one, but you can build any of the 4 out of that box. Then going over to Hasegawa, we got some of the very first of the what would have been the Shizuoka Hobby Show kits. First up, though, we have this straight reissue, which is this. It is their Toyota Celica GT4 RC, which was a car that we did not technically get here in the United States. Celica-wise, so this is a JDM right-hand drive only kit. We did not get the GT4 Rally Championship edition of the Celica here in the United States, but that kit's back out. It's the street version of their Rally kit, basically. And then the 3 kits that represent some of the Suzuki kits. So first up, you have this. It is the Nissan Skyline R31 GTSX Twin Cam 24-valve turbo R31 late 1987. So this is one of the last R31s in terms of before it turned into the R32, the GTR that we come to know and love, Godzilla. This kit doesn't actually have any new parts in it. They're just new decals to change up the engine badging and things like that. The parts that make this what it is were in the last Skyline R31 kit that was released, plus the kit parts that are already in it. So it's sort of taking the amalgamation of all of the parts of this kit through its 4 different civilian versions and making a 5th one. So that is out there for anyone who'd be interested in adding to their Skyline collection. And then also in the streetcar department is this, the reissue, modified reissue of the Toyota Starlet EP71 Turbo S. This is an early version from 1986. So there is actually a whole parts runner full of new stuff in this kit. It's not just decals. So there's a brand new front bumper on this kit. There's also a brand new front grille in this kit. A new shifter, a new steering wheel, and then there are some new clear pieces for the front bumper. So the turn signals are a different shape, and then those big fog lights are a different shape than the previous versions. So those are new as well. So that is out there for you Toyota fans. And then last for this video is a race car reissue, and that is this. It is the Kawasaki Nissan R92CP. So this kit, again, has a parts runner of new stuff added to it to convert it to this specific running of the R92CP. This is a 1992 JSPC, Japanese Sports Car Prototype Series, and it is the championship car for 1992. It also wins the race speaking of specific liveries, it also won the race specific to this picture and this livery. The associated sponsorships on these cars changed race to race. It's going to be a Kawasaki Nissan sponsored car, red, white, and blue Nissan colors, but some of those little sponsorships like the NKG spark plugs and things like that, they may be moved around. There might be stuff added, there might be stuff subtracted, as it is specific to this race. It won this race, and again, it is the championship car for this year. And I think, again, this is one of those things where a lot of us who saw them making the R91, R92 CP kits thought that would have been the first one because it is nominally the most famous one. It's the one that won the championship that year. And if you're into Group C racing in Japan, it's one of those cars you know about. It's now the 4th version of that kit, and so they made you wait. And in the process, they probably sold some kits they normally wouldn't have, because if you would have released, I guess, the one that everybody wanted first, Everybody would have bought that one, and they would have been like, "Oh, well, you know what? I don't really want the other '92 car that only won one race. I don't really want the '91 season car because it didn't do all that great." And the 24 Hours of Daytona car, I mean, it won, but I mean, that's an American thing. I wonder how many Americans really bought that car, that kit. I mean, they're very nice kits. They are curbside. They have a little bit more transaxle detail and turbos and exhaust detail than necessarily the earlier Group C cars they tooled up in the '90s do, but it is still a curbside. But it breaks down a lot easier. That body in the R92 is three pieces, which of course makes all the masking much easier. But then you have I put it all together and my masking isn't lined up problem. So you do kind of have to assemble assemble the body to a certain extent, mask it off that way, and then take it apart and paint it. But it certainly makes it easier in some senses to paint it. You look at that red, white, and blue, and it's like that's a lot of things going on there because none of those are decals. You have to paint that tricolor yourself. But when you realize that the red is only on the roof of the driver's compartment, and the driver's compartment, the middle part of the car, is separate. Well, you only have to mask the red off for one piece of it. You don't have, it's not a one-piece body where you have to paint the tritone over the whole thing. But being broken up, it makes it, again, a little bit easier. So anyway, guys, that wraps up this week. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and we'll see you guys on the other side.